the only podcast where you'll be happy you don't have smell-o-vision. Welcome to Makers International, a podcast of makers from 3 countries, 2 continents, and featuring 5 guys separated only by the same language. Here's your host, Richard Morley.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, good times, whatever time it is, wherever you are and you're listening. Joined as always with me tonight, I've got Mr. Chris Cute.
Hello, how are you doing?
Mr. Alan Robinson.
How are you, fellas?
Joe Whittaker.
You're right, Tom, yeah.
And the completely batty, off the wall, Mr. Jamie Page.
How you doing?
What's everyone up to and how's everything going this week, guys?
Yeah,
good.
It's fine.
Fantastic. Well, I think before we find out what you've been up to, we'll do our regular little shout out and thank yous for everyone who's been commenting and interacting with us on all our social media platforms. So from Facebook, we've got Mr. Richard Clark, Chris Davidson. On YouTube, Eloy Escohido, Simon Hopkins, Rudyard Kipling, Jim Dockrell, S.A. Maker, KSFWG, Robert Evans. This is getting a long list. Wow. Rob's Woodshop, Sharp Edge Woodworking, Ragtie, Shelley Cole, KK Make, and Ian Hay. And then, as always, over on SoundCloud, Azaleas and Jason McGinn. I hope I haven't forgot anyone off there. If you did comment and I didn't just read your name out, then jump on your preferred social media and give me some abuse for forgetting you. My apologies. So what is... well, everyone else is always moaning at me for some reason or another, so why not complete strangers as well? So what's everyone up to at the moment then? Jamie, how's this tattoo of yours healing? Has it got all infected
very well.
and nasty? Oh.
Nah, it's all right. But if it does, I'm sure I can blame Berkey.
Yeah, nice little plug. Nicely done. So what are you up to then?
What am I up to? Well, as a lot of you knew that I was having a bit of difficulty on the last podcast, decided on what shape and, well, not so much what shape, what kind of, what way I was going to turn this Sported Ash blank. Well, I've actually decided to turn it today, and I've done it, and it's going to be in a video. Well, I'm going to edit it today, and it'll be out by the time the podcast comes out. So, yeah, that's what I've been doing this past couple of days.
Fantastic. Did it actually turn out how you had it in your mind, or did it kind of do its own thing halfway through?
Completely different. It actually went through 2 different design changes as I was doing it. So, but yeah, there you go. There it is. Unfortunately, the people can't see it, but
we can. So, ha ha ha. Yeah, it's nice. I like that. It's kind of bowl-shaped, light wood colour with some black bits in it.
Yeah.
What about you, Alan? What have you been up to?
I've been out in the shop all weekend. About a week ago, I lined the inside of my desk with LED lights, and the backboard is just this big black backing board, and I've been sitting here staring at it every day, sitting at my desk, and it's kind of started to drive me nuts. So I made a shop sign that just said the Woodworking Junkie with a little saw blade logo on it. And Jamie, let me hear your thoughts on this. It took me about 4, maybe 5 hours to scroll all these letters. It's not that many letters, but they're kind of intricate. I was bored out of my freaking mind after about 2 hours of scrolling. By the 5th hour, it was like death. How do you do that, Jamie?
I guess you just got to have a lot of patience and good music, I suppose. I don't know. I'm one of them people that can tolerate it, I guess.
It made me, I was sitting there, I had a lot of hours to think about it, and I'm thinking, I use all my tools in the shop all the time, but it's always for seconds at a time, make a cut here, a cut there. I've never had to sit at one tool for several hours like I'm at work. I can't see myself doing it that too much again in the future.
It probably would have been quicker if I was to cut them out and ship them to Canada.
Now he tells you.
Okay, next.
Well, I can completely sympathise with you there, Alan, because I'm much the same. I get very bored. A couple of years ago, I did a a commission for a friend of mine that I used to work with, and it was about 15-inch diameter tray with little stars and moons and names, and it was a nightmare. I hated doing it, just because I haven't got the patience for that kind of thing, as I think I've probably said a million times before. But anyway, what about you, Chris? What have you been working on? Anything to do with your free wood by any chance?
How ironic that you guessed that. I hadn't planned on it. I did the video last week on the Harbor Freight stores and things that I thought were, decent to buy there. And I was working on something totally different. And I got, I'll give you a little insight of what the video is going to be about. I got contacted by a woman in my area who had just moved into the area, and they had a tree that was cut down by the person who used to own the home because it fell down during a winter storm. And she contacted me, wanted to know if there's anything I could do with the wood.
Don't tell me she'd seen your YouTube video on processing.
Richard,
I'll get rid of it with him.
No, I don't know, because I don't know how I think she found me through YouTube, but maybe because I'm local, maybe somehow one of my posts crossed her feed and she kind of researched it, and that's how she found me. I don't know. I didn't ask. But she asked me, I said, well, what, I don't know. I mean, I know when that tree probably fell. We had a really bad winter storm a couple of years ago, and it probably was felled then. But I said, I don't know if I can do anything with the wood or not. What kind of tree is it? She goes, he said something about it being a maple tree. And I went, I'll be right there.
That changes things.
Yeah, I just did. And so I just did a video about the wood I did, the wood that I managed to find and, cut up and all that kind of good fun stuff. So that'll be out tomorrow night.
Cool. I think last time I spoke to you, I promised I'd watch your free processing. I've seen them. They're all in my watch later list. But
you still haven't done it, have you?
I still haven't done it. But at least I'm honest. I'm not trying to blag it and pretend I have watched it, and then I've just, honesty being the best policy. But they're in my watch later. Hand on heart, promise.
Thanks for the support, mate. I appreciate it.
What about Joe's chuckling to himself in the corner at me making a fool of myself? So what are you working on there, Joe?
Well, last week I was saying I was going to start the arms to the rocking chair. Well, I went through, got all the wood ready to actually make the first cut, and realised that I needed to actually fix on the legs to the seat in order to get my measurements for where the joinery is going to go.
Yeah.
And they've got to be connected with screws. And following the Wood Whisperer's plans, he recommends using these SPAC screws because they're meant to be stronger and better for hardwoods and stuff like that. And I was thinking, I don't really want to cheap out at this stage and use my chipboard screws that I've already got in the shed. So I had to order them in online, and they haven't come in yet. So I've been in limbo all week. So hopefully they come in the start of this week so I can get cracking with it.
Was it SPAC screws, you said?
Yes, SPAC screws, that's what I've been after.
You can get them from Screwfix?
Yeah, I was looking on Screwfix, but the price of them compared to what I found online, I wasn't prepared to pay the extra to go and pick them up, so I'm a cheapskate like that. I'd sooner wait and get them cheaper.
No, that's fair enough. You could also for future reference, and I guess if anyone's in the UK or wherever Screwfix spread their wings to in Europe, they do their own brand of screws, which I think is Turbo something. They've got loads of different ones, but they've got the same little cutting teeth on them, which are actually quite a bit cheaper, but they're all right for hardwoods, I've found. And also I use the Ricer. Ricer R2 cutter or cutter 2 or something like that. They're really good in hardwood, so it might help somebody out there in the future.
Yeah, I'll have to remember that one.
But screw's a screw at the end of the day, isn't it? So screw it.
I'm not going there.
Well, I've been super busy this week, and if anyone's been following me on the Instagram as well, I've been posting it, but I know it goes out to some of the other social media platforms that I sit on as well. I've been building some fitted wardrobes for a client in Northamptonshire, and it went from a 2 to 3 day job to can we do this and can we modify it this way, and it turned into all week. And I wasn't finishing until 6 o'clock some nights and to get this thing done for the weekend. But it was such a nice job, and I got the job finished. It won't be a video because I did not have time, but it was I got such a kind of proud feeling at the end. And then when I'd finished and tidied up and hoovered and put the carpet back and all the rest of it, they came in and they were absolutely blown away as well. So that made me feel even happier. But of course it meant sorry, Chris, I couldn't watch your free wood videos.
Oh.
And, I'm getting the thumbnails through and adding them to the list. But,
priorities, man. Come on, what's up with that?
I've got to pay the bills as well. And again, that's why I haven't put any. I think I promised last week about putting out the video for. I've got a couple that need editing, and I just haven't had the time yet. So, fingers crossed. Next week we'll get something out, but they are waiting. Right. So, main topic for tonight. I've got quite an interesting one. I've been really looking forward to this for since we last spoke, actually. And this was Chris's idea. So I'll hand over to Chris, and you can introduce our main topic for tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Joe Whittaker because all the girls that I know think he's cute and want to date him, and I want to find out what his secret is.
Send them my way, Chris. Send them my way.
Oh, Joe, you're killing me. Pretty soon you won't have time to watch my videos either. Jesus. But a screw is not a screw, by the way. Anyway.
Oh, God.
The reason I mentioned having Joe be our sort of spotlight today was because we all love Joe, first of all. But we know that Joe, we know that you have some struggles, difficulties, setbacks in your making and doing things that many of us don't have to deal with. So that being the case, in my opinion, that makes you rather an inspiration to others and maybe who are in similar situations as you are. And watching you and knowing that, it kind of kicks the rest of us in the butt too by eliminating excuses when it's obvious that, to us that others have things, that they could use excuses to get in the way and they just kind of put things on the shelf if they wanted to. But when I see people who have those extra difficulties that I don't currently have, go ahead and do it anyway, it kind of motivates me to get out there and say, stop with the excuses. What's the deal? So I wanted to find out what makes Mr. Whittaker tick and what the whole deal is with him, Richard.
Definitely. I mean, I'll back that up and say he's just the way that I've said it before, I'll say it again. I would love to crack Joe's head open and find out exactly what is in there, because the ideas he comes up with, the way he puts them together, the projects that, the end results that come out of his videos and the way the videos are made as well are always completely different. There's never the only theme is something completely different. It's almost a Monty Python skill. So without the bad animation. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your sort of background in terms of your health? Is that okay to mention it, just to sort of set the scene a bit?
Yeah, I'm always open to talk about my health conditions and that, because I do have quite a lot of private messages from different people that watch my videos. They may not be in exact same situations as me, but they mean very similar ones, and I think everybody who's got health conditions, whether they're major ones or minor ones, you can all relate to the same kind of feelings and stuff like that. So when I was actually first born, the doctors didn't quite know what was wrong, and my mum, she could tell that there was something wrong with me, that I wasn't quite right. One of the two things was wrong, and she really pushed for the doctors to try and find out what it was. And they eventually narrowed it down to it either being cystic fibrosis or what I've actually got, which is long-term Hirschsprung's disease. And that is affecting the intestine. Basically, not to get into too much detail, there's nerve endings in your intestine, and with lung Hirschsprung's disease, those nerve endings either didn't develop or they just don't work. And if they don't work, that gut has to be removed. Now, in most cases, it only affects like a few inches, 2 to 3, maybe 4. But with me, it was the entirety of my large intestine, and all but 30 centimetres of my small intestine. So they had to remove all of that and leave me with just 30 centimetres of bowel. So it's mainly living with the complications of not getting the nutrients and hydration from what I'm eating and drinking that makes it hard for me to maintain my weight and stay hydrated, and I have quite a lot of stomach pain, and it's a complication of everything, on one thing on top of the other adds up. It
compounds every issue, then compounds the next one and the next one, so that overall it always sounds like everything becomes hard, like you're saying about keeping your weight, which obviously then involves how much energy you've got, I guess, and things like that. I can't even begin to imagine how that would.
No, and Joe, I know that I don't know if it was a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, you were in the hospital for And I was going to ask you if this was related to this, or it was just a kind of a one-off thing. You were in hospital because you didn't know whether you had a punctured lung or a punctured larynx, because you were having like severe chest pains. Is this related to your condition, or was that just a totally separate issue?
That was just something completely random. I'm lucky with things like that, I suppose. I get all sorts, but no, that wasn't connected to my condition. It turned out I'd got a small hole in my lung close to my esophagus, and the air had leaked and filled my chest cavity, which was causing the pain. But I was only in for a week, and they didn't treat me or anything. It just reabsorbs into your body. But no, that wasn't to do with my condition.
Okay, I was curious.
Yeah, but from such as those individual things that all add on to each other, I suppose my main problems really is the pain and the energy levels, and I think that is the most difficult thing of getting you out there into the workshop. So most days I'll get up and it'll be I haven't got the energy, or I haven't got the will even to get outside, get into my shed and do something, because I'm in a lot of pain, or like I've been saying, I haven't got the get up and go to do it. And in the days where I really can't bring myself to do anything, that's when I spend my time watching my YouTube videos, getting my inspiration, planning my next project. And as soon as I get that new project idea in my mind and I put pen to paper or I start on SketchUp, as soon as you start planning, you get that itch again to get out there and start cutting and putting stuff together. And that's what really drives me. It's the wanting to do it, sitting there thinking, right, I might not be able to do it today, but if I feel a bit better tomorrow, I'm going to take the first chance I get and I'm going to get this project started and see how far I can go before I have to stop. I might only get a couple of hours a day doing it, but the further I can get each day, it all gets finished in the end.
So it sounds like almost kind of small victories regularly, little and often, helps with, the overall thing. And I guess, do you find boredom's a big, or have you found in the past that boredom was a big issue because you couldn't do things? You almost get into that kind of spiral of nothing to do, I'm bored, and then you don't really feel like doing anything, and then do you see what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's kind of what got me into the whole woodworking side of things, because obviously having the condition from birth, I've known no different my whole life. So going through school, it was the case of I'd go to school, I'd come home, and that would be it. Like, it'd be very rare for me to go out with my friends, like playing football or just even like playing Kirby in front of my house. I'd be very rarely going out. So I was always comfortable with my own company and not so much getting bored all the while. But of course, as you get older, and it's like you got to start thinking about what am I going to do for work and stuff. And it's like, well, I've got to do something. And then making the first project to my computer desk, doing that and realising that when it's on my own time and I haven't got to rush myself, I can just enjoy it. It's something that I enjoy doing. I haven't got to worry about the end result so much when it's just for myself, but it also gives me that drive that it's something to get up in the morning to do. When you're in a position that, because I'm not working at the moment, so you can argue this like, well, what's the point in getting up every day? I've got no reason to get out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
But when you're thinking, I want to finish this rocking chair I'm working on, or I want to get my workshop set up better so it's easier to work it, that's your reason for getting out in the morning. And as soon as you're up and you're going, the day flies by and the rest of the world's got on with what they're doing, and you've been in your own little bubble. Because
you did work, didn't you? Didn't you work for, was it a betting agency or you worked with that?
Yeah, I was just a cashier at Betfred, but I lasted just over a year there, and then I needed quite a big operation, so I had to leave work. And because I've been in and out of hospital for mainly the past 4 or 5 years now for quite large operations, I haven't been able to get back into work. I'm still waiting for another couple of ops, so hopefully when I can get those out the way, that's when I'll be able to try and push the woodworking side and try and make it into some kind of career.
Joe, I'm really happy you're able to stay motivated. I'm really big on drive and passion, with everything we do here. But really, what really stuck with me there is I'm just kind of wondering, you say you get emails and messages from your viewers who are going through the same thing or somewhat of the same thing, medical problems. And I'm just kind of curious, what is it in general you tell these people?
Well, I'll kind of echo what I've just said, because the emails and the private messages that I get, it's very much one-sided in praising me, which is always nice to hear.
Okay, I see.
But it's always hard to take in, for me anyway. It is. But then when I start talking with them and they open up more about their condition and their needs and different things like that, then I just try and echo that anything that you can do, just try and do it. You might not be able to do certain areas or certain aspects of making, but there is always something that you can get your hands on and get trying. Like, I've spoke to people that are in wheelchairs, so they find mobility quite difficult. Well, that's when like you sort of talk around the scroll saw or more stationary working.
Right, yeah,
and it
sense.
Still keeps your mind busy and you can get going with it. There's always ways of working around disabilities and disadvantages. It's just finding something that works for you, something that you enjoy, something that keeps your mind busy at the end of the day.
Well, because a lot of people, Joe, and I've witnessed it firsthand with people that I do know. A lot of people would let whatever their difficulty was, whether it be health or whatever, kind of bring them down, and they'd start acting like they're useless, and they'd start, even though they aren't, they pretend they're invalids, and just kind of give up. But you haven't, and that's the inspiration that I think I was talking about before. You have taken everything that the world has thrown at you. You have hindrances that the rest of us don't have, and yet you still go out there and you go at it. Whatever you possibly can. So what is it that that just forces you to not let, I guess, so-called depression set in and have that set you back? Wow, I mean, how do you keep going?
You always have the down days, and there's always going to be down days. Everybody has down days. You could be fit as a fiddle, nothing wrong with you, and depression is so far spread these days. But to try and help me, it might sound a bit silly, but I have a kind of a saying that I see life as being like a game of poker. You can either keep playing or you can fold. You might be dealt a shit hand, but you can always come out winning. So I'm not ready to fold yet. I'm carrying on. I'm still playing. So until I get to that stage, I'm going to live life to the full as much as I can.
Out of curiosity, on let's say your down days, when let's say for example you may be in too much pain or you're just not feeling up to getting out into the shop, do you have like an extra hobby that you may like to do indoors, where for example there's only so many videos that you can watch in a day and you feel like, well, maybe I fancy doing something else?
Mainly I spend most of my time these days, since doing the YouTube videos, is literally watching YouTube videos, replying to comments, talking to different people like through private messages and stuff like that. But I'm also really into my technology and photography as well, so similar kind of concept with those hobbies. I mean, obviously we Makers International, we're into the making side of things, but people listening, if any of your hobbies really, it's anything that keeps your mind busy. I'm repeating myself a lot here, but like technology, photography, it's something that I can really do. I can be sitting in my chair, playing around with the settings on my camera, getting to know my camera better, reading up about the latest tech. There's lots of different options.
I guess when you've got a whole range of hobbies, you can sit and watch a whole range of different videos for literally, quite honestly, all day.
Definitely, and that's what really inspires me. I think everybody can relate to. You sit and watch somebody making something on YouTube, and it's like it gives you that urge to go out and do it for yourself. You can spend hours watching a YouTube personality or YouTube channel and think, right, now I've seen how they've done it. That means I can do it now. If they can do it, I can do it. Let's go and give it a go.
Well, Joe, I know you're a humble guy, but I mean, do you? I mean, and you probably saw this before, but I'll ask you straight up: do you now see, from the perspective that all four of us have just now taken with you, that do you now see why you are considered an inspiration to people? I mean, do you understand that? I know it makes you uncomfortable, and you get kind of fidgety in your chair when I say that. But do you understand why people who look at you and see you doing things, and not only because you do quality, good work, and you have, as Richard mentioned, a bonkers mind that does crazy stuff. But the point is, you're out there doing it. You're active and you're involved, and you haven't given up. So I hope you understand why I feel that you are as much of an inspiration as you are. And do you understand that?
If I take myself out of my perspective into somebody else's perspective, I know that I get inspired by everybody, able-bodied or not. But then there is always that bit extra, somebody who's got a disability or a disadvantage, and you see them getting on and thriving, and it's like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So from that point of view, then yeah, I can understand sort of thing, but it's hard for me to say.
No, I understand, and I've been following you for a long time. In fact, I even know what your very first YouTube video was. And not only because, unlike the other three goofballs that are with us today, I actually did my research on you.
I think I know without doing any research.
These other lazy pussies didn't, we're just talking to, Joe. I don't need to. You guys are lazy. Anyway.
I'll let you have that.
And this is why I wanted to bring this up. Your very first YouTube video was you making, I believe it was like an old English phone box style spice rack type thing for the 2x4 competition a couple years ago. Is that right?
Yep, that's it.
Now, you have over, to this date, your very first video that you put out, you have over 6,000 views on your very first video right out of the gate. I'm quite embarrassed to tell you how many views I have on my very first video that I had coming right out of the gate, because you followed your first video up, and today your second video. Anybody know what that is? Oh, no, of course you don't, because you didn't do your research, but I did. Anyway, your second video that you put out, you had over 10,000 views on your second video. So within the first two videos you had 16,000 views on your YouTube channel. And that's pretty impressive, my friend. I mean, that's quite an impressive start. I mean, is that because you did spend a lot of time researching, or right place, right time, or what do you attribute that kind of success to? Because not most people nowadays have 16,000 views and only put out two videos in the first two. So
it's literally the time that they've been up. When the very first was uploaded, I think that the 2x4 contest, that really helped a lot. So I think that video got around 300 views in the first couple of weeks, which for the start, that was amazing. I mean, it's still amazing, but like starting out, it was unbelievable. But for some reason, my earlier videos average like close to 1,000 views a month. So recently they've picked up later in the day. They've been up for like 2 years now. So I think that's the main reason why they've got so much views on them.
Well, a lot of it's because I was doing the research on you and watching them over and over again.
That's it. Keep clicking refresh.
I mean, last thing I want to do is take away from the fact that, as you've just said, it was a couple of years and these counsellors, because actually, Chris, you did research in the last week, not in the last 2 years. So there's going to have been views there that you haven't accounted for in recent times.
That's not fair, Richard.
but no, like you then said, Joe, you get 300 views. That's still amazing, and I'm wondering if a lot of your early success was because you sort of, certainly for me anyway, and I don't know if anyone else will back me up here, you kind of strike a chord with people right off the bat. There's no overproduction. There's no, and I don't want this to sound derogatory, but there's no kind of professionalism about your channel. It is what it is. And I think for that reason, that was the reason I was certainly attracted to your channel in the early days, was it just kind of struck a chord that there was this chap doing his thing and it was good what he was doing, without all the bells and whistles around the periphery, with the lights and the fancy segues and transitions and all that sort of videography stuff. It was just about the making of stuff in your shed. And I don't know, is that perhaps where the name of the channel came from, or were you even conscious of that? Or
well, that's really nice of you to say. It's how I've always seen myself. It's just like, I'm just an average Joe, so name kind of follows for itself. But like growing up, I basically grew up in the children's hospital, like being in there for 2 years straight, and you're constantly interacting with new people, coming and going, new patients, nurses, doctors. So I've always been around new faces, and I love talking to people and interacting in that kind of way. So I don't know if that's played any part in it. I'm not too sure, but I don't know. I'm just an average guy.
I really like your channel name. I dig it. It really rolls off the tongue. I haven't been following you for a few years like the other guys. I've been subscribed maybe 4 months, maybe. What I took to it for right off the bat was it had a Casey Neistat feel to it, like a more modern feel than a lot of maker channels you see. You know do you understand what I mean? Is that intentional? Like, I know you are inspired by Casey Neistat, and so am I, and I think that probably comes through on my videos as well. But do you feel like it comes through on yours?
Look at the smile on Joe's face now you said that.
He loves the Neistat. We are the two big Neistat fans in the room here, though.
I think anybody watching Casey can't help but be inspired by his work. I find it hard to...
It oozes through you. You can't stop it.
That's it. It's hard to cut that fine line of copying and inspiration.
No, it's not copy by any means, but it's definitely inspired by.
Well, that's where I take the majority of my inspiration now. I try and match it to the project, really. If I feel that the project is easy to follow and easy to understand without as much information from me as far as voiceover and stuff, then I'll really go into the edit and edit it to the music and stuff like that. But if it's more in depth, then I'll make it simpler with my voiceover and explain each step.
Joe, how long have you been doing YouTube?
It was 2 years.
God, I know the answer to this because I did my research, and you haven't even researched yourself. This is sad. You've been doing it for 2.5 years, Joe. For a while, you had a second channel though, didn't you?
Yeah, I started While the Glue Dries channel for just like random talking videos, but I found that I was kind of splitting people between two channels, kind of thing, and I wasn't really doing that much to update them about. So I was thinking, right, these updates are few and far between, so it's not really going to hurt me putting them on my main channel. If people don't want to watch those, it's labelled as While the Glue Dries. They know what to expect, so they can just steer clear of them if they don't want to just see me talking to camera for a couple of minutes.
No, right. Well, because it all relates, because it's all about making. I mean, for instance, I know Alan has a second channel, Southmount Studios, and it's basically because most of the stuff that he puts on that channel is not kind of related to that, but maybe Alan can jump in and tell us, his choice for having a second channel as far as that goes.
Yeah, I went with second channel because my videos can be considered to be very racy and somewhat R-rated at times and over the top crazy. When you have a maker channel, a DIY channel, or woodworking channel, 90% of the masses on YouTube, they want to see nothing but that. And a lot of people, they will hit subscribe based on one video, which is a normal build video. They will forget they even subscribe to you, and a month down the road, they'll come across my, who I elected for video where I'm mocking presidents and everything just for the sake of doing it because I thought it was fun, and immediately unsubscribe. So I found when I put the crazy stuff on the side on a different channel and kept all the woodworking stuff on the woodworking channel, my subscribership has been through the roof, and my second channel has done basically nothing. But it's a good creative outlet to keep myself going. I don't care about subscribers or anything on that channel.
Right. And Joe, you don't do your While the Glue Dries, like you said, all of that often, but it's part of what you do and how you make it. I did have one more question, and I'm going to let everybody else talk because I've been talking too much. You have, and because I went back and I counted, you have done at least 14 different, and maybe more, 14 different tool reviews on your channel. I'm talking about everything from early on when you got the Dust Deputy for your dust collection system to when you got an X-Carve, and your latest, which I believe was the Evolution miter saw stand. Now, were all of these tool reviews that you did, were they sponsored, or they are a mixture of things that you went out and bought and figured you'd talk about and mixed in with things that people have sent you, or what's the story behind that? Because you do a lot of those, and they do really well, because a lot of people watch those.
The first ones that I did on my channel was just totally brought for myself, and I think the very first one I did was the Titan Thickness Planer, and my decision to actually review that was because when I went to buy it for myself, I'm always looking for reviews. I'll check a review before I buy anything, and I was struggling to find information about this planer. So when I got it and I used it and it was performing really well and it was really cheap, I thought, I've got to let people know about this, because I'm sure a lot of people will look at the cheapest model and think, I'll spend a bit more and get a better one. I just wanted to let them know this is perfect for the money. And then I think from seeing the reviews that I've done of the tools that I've brought for myself, I won a competition with Evolution Power Tools I made an iPad box and I entered it into a DIY contest, and as part of the contest I won a mitre saw and a table saw, and I reviewed those. Just I'd won them. It wasn't a sponsorship, but obviously I didn't pay for them because I won them in a competition. And Evolution saw the reviews and they really liked them, and from that point on they've sent me a couple of the mitre saws and a table saw for me to review. And I presume that other companies have seen how the reviews have gone down, and then they've reached out to me as well. But it's just, I find them helpful, and if I didn't find them helpful, then I wouldn't be willing to do them.
Yeah, I think that comes across in your reviews, actually, Joe. You sort of hit the nail on the head. You want to do them. It's not a case of I ring you up and say, I've got this new product I'm bringing to market. I'll send you one and I'll give you X amount of money if you do a video for me. And you go, yeah, I'll take the money, I'll take the tool, but I don't really want it. There's a big difference in those kind of review videos, and people are very clued up and they see these things straight off the bat. But where your reviews stand out for me is it's obvious that you're wanting to do it and you're wanting to impart that information. And as a result of that, it gives it... Sorry, Siri just thinks I'm talking to her now for some bizarre reason. Shut up, you stupid technology phone. And she's just said, who, me?
I'm not sure I understand.
We can't lose that. We can't lose that. Admit it. That's just very good.
Yeah, so I think that comes across in your reviews, which makes them... It gives you more credibility and it gives more value to that video. And then off the back of that, the companies aren't stupid either. So they see that and they then want to approach you. And I think that's where a lot of your success comes from, not just in your reviews, but in your videos on the whole. Would everyone else agree with that? Or am I barking up the wrong tree again?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when it comes to reviews, Joe is definitely one of the people up there that I look for when it comes to tool reviews. I actually really, really enjoy the reviews that Joe does. He's got a professionalism, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's just the quality of them. I just really enjoy watching them, truth be told.
Yeah, there's definitely a professionalism there, but it's not so far detached from everyday kind of average Joe information.
No, absolutely.
It's a knife edge potentially doing reviews, and Joe just balances perfectly between getting it all across, being honest, being upfront and credible, and being professional without it swaying and marketing swing. Yeah, I'll take that with a pinch of salt. It's just perfect in that sense.
Well, I think we're all in a similar position as far as reviews, because like YouTubers and reviews can often get a bad rap, so to speak. But as long as you make it clear to the viewers that, like I'll always say, I've been given this tool to share my honest opinion with, and that's all that it will ever be, is an honest opinion, because it doesn't benefit anybody to say, oh, this is great because I've been given it, because you soon get the comments like saying this isn't any good that you said was good and stuff like that. Because for example, my thickness planer video, I'm constantly I've got to get about 4 or 5 emails about that thickness planer every single week, asking about like little things that like they might have had some that have turned up damaged or different stuff like that. And it's like, I don't work for Screwfix sort of thing, but I'll try and figure it out on my one. And then you get the nice one saying, oh, I brought it off the back of your review and I'm so glad I did, and stuff like that. Well,
certainly from where I sit watching those, yeah, it definitely does come across, and it's kind of nice not working for these companies. If anyone approaches me, they always get exactly the same thing. It's like, I get to say whatever I like.
That's it. Period.
And some people walk away and some people don't. And, you know, at the end of the day, if somebody walks away, it's less effort. It's something else you can concentrate on that perhaps you want to. But one thing I really want to ask you, because you've already sort of tipped on your photography and your technology, and obviously you've got Average Joe's Photography on Instagram.
Yep, that's
a little plug there for you.
Cheers.
Bonus. So I know you're into your tech. Why woodworking? I get the whole reason you want to keep your head going and you want to relieve the boredom and you want to keep your head your mind active. But why pick woodworking as opposed to, say, technology, computers, video games, or get really into photography?
Growing up, I've always been academically minded. I've strived with like schoolwork, and anything I put my mind to, I seem to be able to grasp. Whereas my health has always held me back as far as working with my hands. And it's been that if somebody tells you you can't do it, you want to do it even more. So growing up, hearing the doctor saying, yep, as soon as the doctor said you won't be able to do a physical job, it's like, yeah, I will. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, that's my boy.
Yeah.
That's where that comes from. I think a lot of people are like that. As soon as you get that you can't do this, you want to do it even more.
Oh, absolutely. I'll attest to that, because I've been in so much trouble my entire life because of that. People would say, Chris, you better not do that. And so the first thought, of course, in my mind is, how can I go ahead and do that?
Hold my drink.
Yeah, I was just going to say hold my drink, yeah. I mean, for me, you're kind of the epitome of the phrase, the mind will give up way before the body does. I mean, you used to see that a lot when I was a reservist, and people would be exerting themselves physically, and then they'd get to the point where they'd say, oh, I can't go on, I can't do any more. And it was not that their body couldn't do it. It was because their head was telling the body that it couldn't do it, and then it wouldn't. And for me, you know, like everything you've had to put up with the whole of your life, with your health, and like you say, with your academic stuff, you've done well with that. You've just gone, your head has just gone, no, I'm not listening. I'm going to do it anyway. And that going back to what Chris said right at the very beginning, if that is not an inspiration to somebody, then you might as well go and crawl under a rock, because, you know, that cannot not be an inspiration, something like that. It's just insane. And going back to your mind, where do these ideas come from? What goes on in your head? Because, you know, copper pipes, milliput, glasses made of bottles, and just how? Where? What? Just
I tell you what, I want to take Joe back to when he brought. It was actually a video that made me find Joe's channel, and it was actually the video that I actually subscribed to Joe's channel from. And it's when he actually used comedy in one of his videos. I'm not sure if Joe knows what video I'm talking about.
I'm not sure which one, no.
It was the birdhouse challenge.
Oh, was he? I'll trust you to like that one.
And as soon as I saw that, I was crying with laughter. I thought only an Englishman could do that and get away with it. It basically made a birdhouse out of a blue tit and called it like a bikini top. And I was crying with laughter, but at the end of it, and I was like, right, subscribe.
But yeah, it's those kind of ideas. I get a lot of inspiration from what I see all around me, what I watch on TV, what I watch on YouTube, and even going around the likes of IKEA. I like to look at something that is already existing, that's already been done, and then just try to think, right, how can I put a twist on it? And it's kind of strange. The more I try and think about something, the harder it is. So I'll have a little think of something and then forget about it, and it'll be later on during the day, it'll just like come to me, hey, how about if I done this, or if I mixed it with that, it could look like this. And it's hard to explain inspiration. I find it's very hard to explain how to get creativity and stuff like that. But I suppose the more you do it, the more you think about it, the easier it becomes. And always remember that it's a form of art, and art appeals to different people. So don't be put off if you come up with some crazy creation and the people you show it to don't get it or don't like it. If you like it, you've succeeded. And then you move on to the next one and the next one and the next one, and there's going to be ones that people will love that you might not like yourself. It's a real mixed bag. Anything artistic is always a mixed audience. So
a lot of inspiration comes from all different places, and it comes from. So a lot of times, I find that inspiration comes from things that you love. For instance, your favorite soft drink. Now, who knows what Joe's favorite soft drink is? Oh, that's right. You did do your research.
No, I do. Me, this in the back.
Go, okay, Richard. What is it?
It's Zeo.
Yes, it is. And you've done a couple videos based off that soft drink. You not only did the glass out of a bottle, you did a 6-pack carrier off of that soft drink. So, but we've talked about how what inspires you, or perhaps as far as product goes, and how much of an inspiration you are to others. But let me ask you a question: who inspired you to get started on YouTube?
On YouTube, it was mainly Steve Ramsey and the Wood Whisperer as far as the woodworking side of things. But back before I started, obviously I was a lot younger and I was watching a lot of gaming YouTubers. So there was always that aspect of seeing their personalities coming across and sharing their lives with people that I really enjoyed. But then my love of the craft through Steve Ramsey and the Wood Whisperer, it was that I can share what I'm doing and share myself, put it together and create a channel. And I was waiting for that opportunity. I'll start it next week, I'll start it next month. I found the 2x4 competition and it was like, you got to make a YouTube video to enter it. And it's like, well, no, I've got to start my channel. This is the kick up the bum I need. Let's do it. And that was it.
No, I can agree with you there, Joe. Steve Ramsey was a huge part of the reason I started, but I just had a funny image. If PewDiePie and Steve Ramsey had a baby, we would have ourselves Average Joe's Joinery.
Do you know what I was just going to say when you said about watching the gaming videos? You should so do a video in like the style of one of these first-person shooter games, but you in your workshop making something. That I would pay to watch.
I would watch that all day long, Joe.
I've actually had that kind of researching how to go about it because I watched a few binaural videos on YouTube. They're really fascinating. If you haven't seen any of these binaural videos, it's basically sound that's recorded with 2 separate microphones spaced how apart the human ear is. So when you listen back to it through headphones and close your eyes, it sounds as if it's all 3D around you. Well, I had the idea of getting 2 microphones, setting it up on my head with a GoPro on a head mount, make a project all the way through. So you'd be sitting watching and you'd hear the sounds all around you, the tools, and like drop something on the floor or throw something across the workshop and you'd hear it fly past your head and stuff like that. I've been researching it. I haven't been able to get it working yet, but it's on the books eventually.
Well, I kind of hope you do. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I'd watch that all day long.
Sounds really cool.
I've got to tell you the one video. Look for the barbershop. It's a binaural video of the barbershop. You close your eyes, you listen to that. It'll make you jump out your seat. It's brilliant.
You know, I feel like I've just ascended now, Joe, because I just came up with, well, I thought I'd just come up with an idea that you'd thought of already, and it's cool. I literally feel like I've made it now. Yeah, do a video. Like, are you going to have to put like 2 microphones on a head mount so that they're, or do you just put them on the stand? Or
a lot of them they use like mannequin heads to get the spacing right. But I was thinking of like attaching them to some headphones or something. So like I've got headphones on at the minute that could be clamped or just sellotaped to the side so they're not the right spacing and they should pick up the sound correctly then. And with the GoPro on my head,
can you not get a beer hat?
Yeah, that would work great. Yeah,
and just sit them in there.
A beer hat with the straws coming out. Yeah, brilliant.
You could get a 3D head kit and take the front cover off and use your cell phone as the camera. So you'll have this thing over your eyes the whole time, and you've got all kinds of space to work with to attach whatever you need to it.
That's it.
You made a head, didn't you? You made a 3D head.
Yeah, that's when I first come up with the idea.
Right, okay. That's brought me back down to earth because that was ages ago you made that head.
But it shows how long I've been trying to get it to work and I haven't managed it, so I don't know what's better.
Well, the idea's there, so that's, everything starts with an idea, doesn't it? For sure. That, I think, is all the little things that I was looking to ask. Apart from one, you've already mentioned. Has anyone got a question they want to dive in with before I dive in with this?
Boxes or briefs?
Go for it. Briefs? Is that what you...
This is like an ongoing theme, isn't it? Everyone that's on the show must answer the following question: do you wear boxers or briefs?
Joe's definitely a brief guy.
Oh no, it's got to be boxers.
Ah.
Let it all hang loose.
I had You got it, man.
Take those boys home.
Right, I think I'm definitely going to ask my question now.
He calls
He's done what?
He calls it Oscar.
Oh God.
I just got no trampolines and no, stop. Right, Joe. The question you sort of alluded to it earlier, and that was about sort of making it into a career. So, what sort of ideas or visions or strategies do you see it or hope it to go in direction-wise? Do you think?
Originally thought that I could make simple, small items to sell, but I quickly realised that there's no way I can mass produce a lot of items to actually make a living from it. So
X-Carve.
yeah. But I've come to terms with that. I think I'll need to specialise in larger one-off pieces, kind of like what I'm doing at the moment. Like, once I've done the one thing, that's it, there'll be no more of it, and hope that they'll be able to fetch a larger price that can justify me spending a couple of weeks on one thing as opposed to spending 2 weeks to make 50. I think that's the route that I need to go down. Hopefully I can do it, but that's for when I get the sign off from the doctor. Yeah, Joe, no more operations for a few years now. That's when I can crack on with it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe start off with the sort of the smaller, not mass produced, but small numbers of, rather than the long term one rocking chair for 2 months. I mean, in the meantime, to test the water. One thing I do with a lot of the stuff that I've made in videos, I might make one for the video, but then actually be making 2 not in the video, and they go into. I've got a friend with a shop, and I get a couple of shelves in their shop, and when it's gone from the video, if it's not for me or for somebody specifically, it just goes in the shop and sits in there. That adds it becomes a good advertising billboard for you as well, potentially. So I don't know, maybe I wish you all the luck, if not with your YouTube channel, but with the whole career thing, because I think from what I've seen from your videos, and I'm sure everyone will agree with this, from what you put out in your videos, you have every chance and more to do this, as a career, and actually, sod your health, because you've already proven the fact that your head's not going to give up anyway. If your body if your health improves, the fact that you've got that head on your shoulders is going to be a major advantage over an awful lot of people anyway.
Well, thank you very much for all the nice things that have been said about me. It's very humbling to hear such nice things. It really is. So thank you. No
problem at all. Anyone that's got anything bad to say to you, I think there's going to be 4 people they've got to get past first. So you've already talked about what you spend a lot of time on watching the YouTube. Has anyone got any final questions for Joe they want to dive in with before we sort of basically ignore him and wrap up and move on to what we're watching?
I'm not gonna ignore Joe. And maybe we can talk about this sometime in the future, guys. Because this whole podcast came from us, or at least 2 different podcasts in the making, and it was because 3 of us, Alan, Jamie, and I, were working on one, and I immediately thought of somebody that I wanted to have with us, and it was Joe, and it was for the exact same reason you talked about, Richard, because he's got the personality, he's got the levity, and he's got the talent. I was like, "Oh, Joe, come on, do you want to join us?" And Joe said, "Well, I'm thinking about doing one with Richard." But and that's, we can talk about that in the future. But I just wanted to back up what you said, Richard, because Joe is obviously a talent, and I think that if he takes this seriously, then I don't think he'll have much trouble in pursuing it and being successful in the future. So
no, and just to basically reiterate exactly what you've just said there. I think maybe we'll go into the specifics of the background of this podcast. I was thinking of doing something for the UK, because obviously at the time there wasn't a massive UK presence in podcasts, and for me it was Joe. Plain and simple. I had to have Joe because of what his channel represented and all the rest of it. So that just says everything about Joe, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Joe's a national treasure.
He kind of is, actually. Yeah, I'll go with that for sure.
God save our gracious Joe.
Oh God!
Brilliant. So yeah, Joe, you said you watch a lot of YouTube. You're gaming, and you're Mr. Nice Stat and all the rest of it. What are you watching at the moment?
I've been watching Nick Ferry a lot recently, and I want to give him a shout out because he's just surpassed 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So massive congratulations to Nick. It's very well deserved. I mean, Nick was one of the first people that I really got talking to and messaging, and is a brilliant friend. He's a brilliant personality. I'm sure a lot of people have already subscribed to Nick, but if not, check the show notes out. Go and get subscribed. Let's boost him up some more. He's produces great content.
Yeah, he's a real character in his own right, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. He's brilliant.
Fantastic. And how about, I better ask Alan, because I always seem to forget poor old Alan.
I'm watching a channel. I've been watching it for a while now, but his uploads are few and far between. So go and find this channel. It's can make it. I have a terrible time saying it, but I absolutely love the channel. His last video was a crosscut sled. But okay, what I really like about it is the comedy in it. He has the same format, the same music, pretty well the same everything for every video, but it just works so damn well. Basically, he challenges himself to make something, and if he can't make it, he'll suggest that you share it with somebody you don't like. And if he can make it by the end of the video, he'll just plain tell you to share it. So go down in the show notes, check this guy out. He really is hilarious.
I'm definitely going to. I've not come across that one, I'll be honest, but I like the way you just put that across. So
can make it. I can't say it, but I love it.
Well, as long as the link's okay and it works, then we'll find it that way. What are you watching at the moment, Chris? Obviously not any of my videos.
My shout out is probably somebody a lot of you are already familiar with, but on the off chance that somebody isn't, are you familiar with Monkworks?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
With Father Thomas.
With Father Thomas, yes. He has just started something that's going to be very cool. He just started a multi-part series where he just started on how he plans to make a teardrop trailer for camping or whatever. He's starting it now in the hopes that he's going to have it completed by spring so that he can go out and take it out and enjoy camping. I guess this is going to be a fun and interesting series to follow. So if you don't know who Father Thomas is and Monkworks and you haven't subscribed, please go do that. There'll be a link down in the description, but this should be a fun series to follow. He just put out part one where he was putting obviously the base on the trailer to where he's going to be building from. So if you like Father Thomas and if you like Monkworks, absolutely check that out. And if you're not familiar, please familiarize yourself because this is going to be fun. I love Father Thomas and that channel because he does awesome video work, first of all. But this is going to be kind of a cool build. He's building a little camper to go traveling around with, saying he's hoping to have it done this spring.
Sweet. I always find his videos have a very calming influence in the way he sort of conducts himself and talks.
Maybe it has a little thing to do with him being a father.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but it's just so nice and relaxing. They're great.
Anyway, Father Thomas, we love you.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't indeed? What about you, Jamie? What are you?
Well, since the theme of the show has been about inspirations, if you like, and obviously we've all agreed that Joe is an inspiration. My shout out back in 2012, basically had her life changed overnight, and she was left paralysed in her left leg, but that didn't stop her from getting out in a shop. At the moment, she's in the middle of revamping her channel. She's not only an inspiration to me, but quite a lot of other people. She's known as Mum in America, and it's Shelley Cole from Knows What Mum Knows. That's her YouTube channel. Yeah, she's just released a video of a Thanksgiving theme, which was for Russ Clarity's Simply Wooden Creations scroll saw contest. Yeah, that turned out amazing. It turned out even more amazing because she used spiral blades and I can't use them. Go check out Shelley's channel. She has got some great stuff coming out.
Fantastic. Well, I haven't actually been doing a lot of YouTube video watching, editing, making, or anything, as I'm sure Chris will tell you. But I have watched. Just thought I'd get that in there.
Thanks, Richard.
There's a new not a new Harry Potter film. This new J.K. Rowling movie that's coming out. I've watched all of the trailers for Fantastic Beasts, and I hate to say it, and if you're a muggle, then just put up with this for a minute, because I'm now really excited about this new film. I wasn't at all. I just thought, it's not Harry Potter. I'll watch it maybe when it comes out at Christmas. But I've seen the trailers now, and I'm just itching until the end of the week to go and watch it at the cinema. So I'm really excited about that. And that's what I've been watching, about half a dozen different trailer movies for the new Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. So I'll leave a link.
Yeah, I got upstaged by a bunch of muggles. Thanks, Richard. I appreciate it.
I've never seen a 12-year-old with facial hair before.
Cheers for that. Stinking half-blood.
That's not far off the mark either.
Nice, spot on.
Excellent. So let's do a quick where people can find us.
We have Facebook fan page, Makers International. Chris, get that smirk off your face. We have Twitter at Makers International. Stop laughing, Chris. And you can find me, the Woodworking Junkie, across YouTube and Facebook.
Fantastic. Where can we find you then, Jamie?
You can find me on YouTube at JP Woodwork and Twitter and Instagram at JP_Woodwork.
And Chris?
Yeah.
Are you on Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of stuff?
Chris is on Instagram.
You can find Chris Make the First Cut on Facebook and YouTube at Chris Cute.
Jamie just wrapped it up. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. There you go.
What about you, Joe?
Average Joe's Joinery, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and as you very kindly plugged earlier on, it's Average Joe's Photography on Instagram.
Good stuff. Well, I'm obviously on Instagram because it just rolls off the tongue. I'm under BrainFizz UK. Basically, go to my website, brainfizz.uk, and you can find links to me across all my platforms and other stuff as well. So I've been Rick Morley. We've been joined, as always, by the usual crew. So I'll say cheerio, toodaloo, good times. We'll see you soon.
And Joe, thank you, buddy, for being on the spotlight tonight. We do appreciate it. Have a good week, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a good week.
See you later.